All right. Beautiful. Okay. So Happy New Year, right? For some of us, I'm not sure we've spoken this year. Happy New Year to all of us. 2025 was good. 2026 will be, well, 2025 was challenging, right? And without there are no doubts that 2026 will not come with its own challenges, but we are positive that if we survive 2025, we will surmount whatever challenges 2026 will pose in the tech and cybersecurity space. This morning, we are having a fireside chat to discuss the certification compass. And we kind of thought it was a good place to start the year, right? To help set the tone for, excuse me, to help set the tone, especially for some of us who are at crossroads and have some bit of confusion. How do I navigate this path? So if you're new to tech or you're trying to transit, or well, you're part of the big guys and you just want to listen in on the conversation and support those who want to grow their careers, right? The Our core objective this morning is that we should be able to help at least one person navigate these waters of certification and capacity building, right? We have a fantastic panel, right? Um, our first panelist is Babatunde Jimo. He's a cybersecurity specialist. He's also a faculty at Bayes University. I would say this is the first time I'm interacting with a cybersecurity faculty in Nigeria who does lecturing full time, right? And it's very good to have him join us. Our second panelist is Martins or Chigozie. He serves as a senior IT auditor with one of the tier one banks in Nigeria. He is the coordinator for education for ISACA, right, in Abuja. And then our third panelist is Adesoji Ogunjobi. He's our senior man for those of us in the community, our senior one in the house. Adesoji is also a cybersecurity consultant. I've lost count of his certifications. If you go to his page, I'm sure on LinkedIn, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. He writes certifications for a sport, right? But again, understandably so. Now, there are three things. There's one thing these three panelists have in common, right? They are big on capacity building. They are big on empowering the next generation of cybersecurity practitioners in helping build their capacity. And that is what endears me to them. I'm positive that we'll be able to um, learn from their wealth of experience. Just before we start, I want us to take a quick poll, right? Just to kind of gauge, have a sense of participants in the room. So, has the poll launched? If it has launched, let me know. Okay. So, we're saying here what describes your current career stage. Um, yeah. Okay. So let's just quickly do this and get it out of the way. I think it also helps our participants, our panelists, in basically answering some of your questions. The way we intend to run this morning is that we'll start out the conversation and then we'll take questions from those of us joining us here, and as much as possible, do justice to all of this within 1 hour. Okay. Interesting results. Interesting results. Do we have everybody in? 10 people. Okay. 11. Okay. So we have about 8% of the participants on the call looking for a way in. Interesting. We have 17% who are in their early careers. We have 50% looking to make a switch, right? They're looking to make a switch or take on higher roles. And then we have a few veterans in the house who would also help enrich the conversation. So I'm going to end the poll now and then take the next one. Okay. So, and can we all see the results? All right, all right, all right, all right. Okay. So we'll take our next poll. So this poll is largely speaking to what our biggest hurdle is. And let me know once it's up, right? What is your biggest hurdle right now? What is your biggest hurdle right now? Okay. What is your biggest hurdle right now? Let's just quickly do this and get it out of the way. What is your biggest hurdle right now? I don't know which certification to start with. I have certifications, but I can't get interviews. I have the experience, but no certification to back it up. Okay. We still have more people who haven't taken the poll. We just have 14 out of 23. If we can just quickly, shouldn't take more than 1 minute. I'll end the poll now. So we have, okay. So I'm going to end the poll now and share the results. So interesting. We have 33% who are saying, I don't know which certification to start with. We have another 27% saying, I have the certifications, but I can't get interviews. And then we have another 40% saying, I have experience, but no certification to back it up, right? Okay. Okay. So, welcome once again, everyone, and to my panelists, thank you for making out the time to be here. We'll start with our first question. And participants, please, by all means, if you've got any questions, please drop them in the chat. We'll take them intermittently as we carry on with the conversation, right? Now, there's a lot of conversations around who should bear the responsibility for building the capacity of staff. Is it the employer or should it be the staff themselves? And I'll pose this question to you, Soji. Should we typically wait for employers to pay for our capacity building, or is waiting for company approval a big mistake that we can make in our career growth?
Thank you very much, sir. Please, I'd like everyone to confirm to me that you can hear me. Can everyone hear me clearly?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay, awesome. So I want to say something here. Everything I'm going to be saying, every response that is going to be coming to us today from me based on any question, I'm going to it's going to be from experience. I'm not just speaking theoretically. And I'm saying this because I want you to trust me. And I'm not speaking from a perspective, I'm not just speaking from a theoretical perspective. I'm speaking from a perspective such that from a from an experience perspective, and from a perspective of somebody who has succeeded in that area. Trust me. And number three, I usually do not just talk to everyone because I've come to understand that, and I'm sorry to say this, I've come to understand that some people have wool in their ears. No matter what you say to them, they just can't hear you. They are just bent on, making the wrong mistake. But if you're very lucky, if you're very fortunate, you would, listen and make the right adjustment. Now, to respond to the question that Tony's to Tony's question, it is your duty to steer the ship of your life. No company is going to do that for you. Let me just quickly say this because I know we do not have much time, but I wish we have maybe like 2 hours to have a conversation like this. So when I was in Nigeria, right, I actually had a very bad experience. Bad experience in the sense that I worked my best for the companies that I worked for. I actually gave my life, my sweat, my effort. I gave a lot of sacrifice for the companies that I worked for. With the hope that I was going to be promoted, I was going to be rewarded accordingly, but it didn't turn out like that. In fact, I can give you a very good example. When I worked with Old Mutual, there was a company I worked for called Old Mutual. Some of us might know Old Mutual. When Old Mutual came into Nigeria in 2011, I was the third person to resume in the business. The third person, the CEO resumed. For those of us who might know Ofongamba was the CEO. Then the secretary to Ofongamba, I was the third person to resume. I literally built the IT infrastructure of that company. And I managed infrastructure I'm talking about a multinational that's been around for 175 years. When they came into Nigeria, they were paying very well. Now, for the first 2 years, they didn't get licensed. For those of us who remember the time of, what was that time when insurance companies was separated from banks? Do you understand? And I think it was Obasanjo time when he refused to issue insurance licenses. And the company was here for 2 years. They were paying salary, they were paying bonuses and all of that. But where I'm driving to is this: I built the infrastructure literally and worked for the company for like 5 years. After 5 years, they went and brought somebody who, they thought was better than me. It wasn't because I wasn't performing, but it was because of the politics. But what I'm trying to say is this: all of that anger, all of that, dissatisfaction drove me to invest in myself. And at that period, I was writing my certification. A lot of people, I was writing my certification and I was paying as much as 300,000, 400,000, 500,000 for certification. And I'm not kidding you. It was that period I did my master's. I did my master's in 2016. Then it cost me $10,000. If you know what $10,000 was in 2016. So, but what God helped me to understand on time and early in my career was that you are responsible for steering the ship of your life. There were times, I told Tony, I said, there were times that after paying for, in fact, I just checked my profile December and I saw that I'm a platinum member of ISACA. You know what it means to be a platinum member of ISACA? It means that you paid your membership consistently for at least 15 years. And not just ISACA, but also ISC too. Now, there were times that after paying for my certification, I didn't have money to take care of my family. I had to borrow money. And there's this guy who was the only person who would borrow me money. And I would make sure that by next month, I paid him back. But what I'm trying to say is, in fact, I also remember there was a time, right, I was going to write one of my exams. That was a CCSP. CCSP, I was the second person to have CCSP in Nigeria. The first person is somebody that we all know. I wouldn't want to mention his name. He was like 3 months ahead of me, went and wrote the exam. I would have written the exam that period, but I did not. I just said, let me postpone it. But I went to write the CCSP. I was the second person and I passed it. The day I was going to write my CCSP cost me 500,000 when I wrote it. The day I was going to write it, I was drenched. It was a rainy period. I was going to Surulere. For those of us who know Bellas, I went through really, you know what it is when it rains, how flawed. I was drenched, my shoes, everything was drenched. And I was taking a risk to go and write an exam that I didn't even know whether I was going to pass. But the bottom line is you are responsible for steering the ship of your career. No HR is going to do it for you. No company is going to do it for you. Companies are not in the business of helping you map a career. Why would a company help you to map a career when they're not certain you're going to stay? So you need to pick it up yourself. It is the earlier you understand that, the better. Thank you very much, sir.
Fantastic, fantastic. Thank you, thank you, thank you for that feedback. Some things I picked out of what Soji said. He said he borrowed, right? He borrowed. And I'm positive that you don't have any regrets today, right?
So I was telling Tony last week that I borrowed some money. If I put all of the money that I borrowed together, in fact, let me just share this. When I arrived the UK in 2023, I wanted to listen very carefully. When I arrived the UK in 2023, I arrived the UK January. My family has been here since 2022. 2023, I arrived the UK. Between January and June, I couldn't get anything to do. You know, when you say that in the UK, you know, Johnny just come. How can Johnny just come want to take over the market? But in June, right, because I was determined, I was intentional, I was persistent, I got a break. I applied to a job, and all of a sudden, in fact, when I wanted to apply, it was like, I was saying to myself, if I apply now, they will not take you. They will just, no sooner than your application arrives, they will send you a rejection letter, a rejection feedback. But something said, just go ahead. So I went ahead and applied. It was a big company. The company was actually IBM child company. So I applied, and all of a sudden I just saw a response like, okay, we like your profile, would like to schedule you for an interview. I'm like, oh, that's good. Now let me tell you something, listen very carefully. Between January and June, the last job I resigned from was Wema Bank. Please, I wanted to listen. I left Wema Bank. Between January and June, Wema Bank was struggling to get somebody to replace me. And one of the top guys in Wema Bank, who I have very high regard for, reached out to me and said, Soji, we've not been able to fill this post. We wanted to come back. We can renegotiate. That period that I'm talking about, I've not gotten anything to do in the UK. And I said to him, I said, my guy, I won't be able to come back. I've left. Do you know what it is for somebody to tell you, come back, let's renegotiate, and you're somewhere where it's not even certain? Do you understand what I'm saying? But I said, okay, I've left. And he said, oh, okay, that's good. No problem. And somebody said to me, you're an idiot. You should have just, go take it, negotiate and all of that. But I'm like, no. So I got that interview somewhere in June, and I went, to cut the long story short, I got the project. Guess how much I made? I know the project has come and gone, so I can divulge it. Guess how much I made in 4 months? I made £40,000. And I'm not kidding you, £40,000. For those of us who would understand what they call IR35 in the UK, it's project, IT project. Ask people who do IR35. They can pay you as much as £700, £1,000 per day. Within 4 months, I made £40,000. And that was how I got settled. And once that one was done, it was easy for me, for other companies to speak to me. Now, guess what made me stand out? The profile, the brand, the experience that I've built over the years, the investment. I sat down and I looked back and I said, Lord, thank you very much for helping me take the steering of my career and paddling it without waiting for anyone. Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, interesting. Martin, I'll come to you now. A certification director with ISACA. You're also a senior IT auditor with the Tier 1 bank. I think I'm also beginning to lose count of the number of certifications you currently have with ISACA. What value will you say certifications have added to your career growth, right? And what then would you advise folks looking to advance their careers in, say, tech and cybersecurity?
Thank you so much. And I want to believe you can hear me.
Yes, yes,
Uh,
loud.
for, for us for our value, and I really want to say that Soji has made work much easier. He was almost replicating my story. He was almost telling my story, so to say, so to say. He was almost telling my story. But for certification, what it has added to me, in addition to all what Soji has said, because the story are just one and the same. The only difference was where he started from. I started from a very little background. When I mean little background, my salary when I wrote CISA was a 65,000 naira take. I
Was
borrowed
that
like a kid.
1980? Was that 1980?
No, 2013, 2013, yeah. So I
Those
borrowed
kids
and
I didn't want somebody to think
2019.
that 65,000 in 1980 was a lot of money then.
No. 2019, I wrote my exam in May. My take home was about 65K.
Hmm.
So I
Hmm.
borrowed two. Now, what certification has added? Of course, writing CISA at that salary, at that kind of work, was like you are really taking a risk because the gamble I took was that I want a shift from what I currently do. So what I currently earn, I know that I deserve it because I needed to develop myself.
Hmm.
So I deserve what I was earning because until I develop myself, I won't have an opportunity. So what I did was I looked down on what I was earning. Fortunately, my company was giving what we call accommodation loan. So I took an accommodation loan and I made it up to what I planned for my CISA. And then I planned CISA for 3 months. Today, I've had 4 certifications in ISACA out of 5. And the last one I didn't want to have because I didn't see it becoming valuable to what I need. I was projecting at that point. So secondly, I made certification, self-development a project. It was a 5-year project for me between 2015 and 2020. And before 2020, I got my first certification. And since after then, 2021, I did another one. 2022, I did another one. 2023. And don't forget, don't also be carried away. I actually failed one out of it. And the week after, I had to borrow another one. Fortunately, out of the 300,000 that I borrowed, the first person told me, don't worry, don't pay back. Because I asked him for the whole money. He said, look, that policy of, I don't want to borrow you what will make us poor. Let me just give you what I can forfeit in case you don't pay back. So I will give you 100. He gave me 100. I collected some savings from my wife. We were able to make it because I needed to. I said, if I quit my project for 5 years, I was ready. So that's fast forward after 2022 when I wrote my second certificate, doors opened. When I got a job in tier one bank in Nigeria, I had about 3 offers. This is me that was earning 65,000 naira in 65,000 naira in 2013. 85,000 naira. That's because we had increment 3 years after. From 2013 to 2019, the increment was about 25,000. So my salary take home grew to 93,000. But then that didn't make me give us CISA. And unfortunately, why I didn't write CISA in 2015 was that the government was campaigning that they will make dollar 1 naira to $1. So I shifted my exam. I said, okay, since the exam at this moment is $175, dollar is expensive. So let me wait for when one. Unfortunately, 2016 dollar climb, 2017 dollar climb, 2019 dollar was hitting 375. I advised myself I had to write this exam immediately. Fortunately, I ran into a mentor who gave me 3 months mentoring, and 3 months time I wrote the exam. I was shocked I passed because I couldn't believe it. But then afterwards, it has been from glory to glory.
All right. Thank you. I hear persistence, I hear grit. Babs, I also don't want our audience to leave here thinking that certifications are silver bullets, right? I've seen people who says, look, they can't write exams to save themselves, right? So how important is it for folks in tech and cybersecurity to gain hands-on experience on the job, right? Even while writing certifications. How important is that? How important is networking, right, in building our cybersecurity careers? And just before you answer that question, Babs, guys, just in case you're just joining, this is the Fireside Chat we had advertised. Please, if you have any questions, just drop them in the chat. We would ask them as we progress, right? So, Babs.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tony. And it's quite very nice to be here. Kind of like also learning from my fellow panelists. Hearing Soji's story, hearing Chigoze's story, I can also relate, right?
You don't tell me you borrowed too.
Oh, wait, I'm coming to that part. I'm coming to that part. Okay, so I mean, I have to answer the question, and I kind of like give like a background story. So the thing is, certification is good, and I'll tell you what certification did for me. But before certification, one of the things that is common, if you've heard Soji, for those just joining, and Mr. Chigozie as well, is that they were practicing and they were building their skills.
Correct.
Now, the thing is, we also need to understand the kind of system that we are in. So some organizations, and permit me to say, in case there is any HR person, please don't come for my head. They are not as smart as they think they are. They move by their emotions, or they move by the zeal that they need to create standard and remain relevant in their department. Most of we IT guys don't like relating to HR. I'm sure I'm not the only person. They are quite annoying. So they come up with different policies. But you see, for recruitment's sake, there are those that are very good with networking, and they will be ahead of you, regardless of your skill set. They are not good, but because they've been able to create that network and they know how to present themselves, people are moved by optics. The real value and the real substance, I realize that most of them struggle to actually put themselves out there. I'm one of that. So I've been building up my skills since 2013. I am an educator, right? Because one of my goals is to always find a way to add values to life. And I realized that I could also easily get bored. It's natural. It happens, right? It happens. But to remain relevant, you always need that drive, right? And that's what makes you want to chase more certifications. Now, certification is not enough. Hands-on is quite very important. My first interview that I got was not first, like after I did my certification. So I took the CEH certification then. I love anything regarding trying to break into a system, right? So I did the CEH certification. I borrowed money to write that exam. I will tell you, as of 2019, I did borrow money to write that exam. I had good grades, so they gave an offer that they are giving a discount. I know they gave so many out that I just need to pay $100. $100, I think, was about 40,000 naira at the time. You would not believe I did not have 40,000 naira. So I started a GoFundMe, where you start speaking to people that see. But this was what was funny. I don't know. I saw light at the end of the tunnel, that if I do take this certification, I feel it's going to open doors for me, because I was confident in my ability. That was one aspect of it. Then I did take the certification. I took the CEH practicals at the time, and EC Council, where they do what you call the global leaderboard. And I turned out to come out top. I was like first in the world, so I was recognized by EC Council for that. Now, 3 weeks afterwards, like a month later, I was trying to go to LinkedIn, and I was like, okay, do I start applying for roles again? And I got a message, and someone said, oh, they saw my profile and they would like to have a chat with me. Now, imagine I just borrowed 40,000 naira, and yeah, the first interview they gave to me, I didn't even know the technical person was going to be there. And they just said, show us what you can do. Literally. As soon as the HR said, "Oh, can you tell us about yourself?" As I was about to explain, the man just interjected and said, "Hey, show us what you could do." And I was like, "Okay, I wasn't expecting this." So I had to quickly come up with something. I improvised, showed some little activities as regards to social engineering, did the demo. And the next thing I just said, when would you like to start? Now, it was a training organization and I had other things to do for them back end. And that was the first time I was going to earn $5,000 per month. Now, I've been working remotely for the past 4 years. So don't worry, don't try to calculate my income. But to really answer it is that certifications are good, right? But trust me, you need to have the skills. I feel you should spend more time building your skill set. The door will open. Because it will be sad that when the opportunity presents itself and you don't have the skill set, it will be a golden opportunity that you've missed. So to answer the question, it's quite very important to actually have the skills. And I tell people, don't chase every certification just yet. Try to get your foot in there, build the right skills, master one domain. Then from there, it becomes your launch pad into every other aspect, literally. So yes, that's my own 2 cents.
Fantastic, fantastic. Thank you very much, Babs. I tell whoever cares to listen that we borrow for the most mundane things, right? Yeah, some may be genuine. So you're borrowing to pay your rent, you're borrowing to buy a suit, you're borrowing to buy a bag. One of the things we rarely borrow for is building capacity, right? And this is what, especially if you're in the knowledge as a service business, right? GRs, cybersecurity, etc. Yeah, and that's where you play. You cannot give what you don't have. And the more you learn, the more you build capacity, the more you're able to effectively offer that service. And so when somebody tells me I don't have money, that is the reason why I'm not building capacity. It's either the person doesn't have information or the person is misguided. And I like to think that, again, based on these experiences shared by our panelists, it's clear that they've been able to debunk that myth, right? That money cannot be a barrier why you are struggling to build capacity. Today, if you go on YouTube, there are tons of information, most of them free of charge. Spend time, dig deep, learn wide, because again, we are in a knowledge as a service business. And maybe I'll just chip in an experience. A mentee, who, if you're familiar with the ranking in banking, right? When I worked with this guy, he was on step 2 in banking, right? I had encouraged him to write, he's an auditor, I had encouraged him to write the IT audit, the CISA certification. And he kept on, very disorganized, but running up and down and what. Wasn't taking it seriously. I harassed him. There was nothing I didn't do. Eventually, he wrote it and passed. In a space of 18 months, he got for someone who was in step 2, he got an offer for step 8. I was on step 6 at the time. He came to my office with that offer letter. Again, for those of us in banking, that is from assistant banking officer. He came to my office with a senior manager offer letter in 18 months after he passed his CISA certification. If we have not taken anything out of this session, it is the fact that, one, certifications are not are brilliant. They can open doors for you, not just local doors, but also international opportunities, especially for some of us that when we say the world is a global village is obvious. Babs has just attested to it, sits down in Nigeria and is doing his thing, earning in foreign currency, obviously hedging the risk, the dollar risk. So it helps you, right? Now, capacity building, while it is also not a silver bullet, you must gain core skills and deepen your capacity from a skill perspective, right? Okay, so do you want to say something before we can just drop our questions in the chat?
Yes, I was going to say something. I was going to just quickly add something to what you said, which over time I have observed. And what I was going to say is, I've heard people say, even in certain chat room, I've heard people say, "Oh, certification is useless. Certification doesn't prove that you have the practical skill." And sometimes I want to speak, but sometimes I'm just like something just to just keep quiet and just leave it. Now, you see, there's something you need to understand about the certain laws. What you do not agree with, you are not likely to enjoy or benefit from. Now, when I hear people say, and even on LinkedIn is very common. Let me just quickly say this to you. When you hear we are all dark-skinned people here. When you hear a white man says, "Oh, certification is useless, certification is that," and you join them, you're actually shortchanging yourself. You know why? Because they have certain privileges that you do not have. They do not have to work twice as hard to get an opportunity that you would work 7 times as hard to get. Now, even if you work 7 times as hard, it's not going to kill you because God has given every human being the capacity to stretch to point, to stretch as much as possible. It's not going to kill you. So when I see people from the part of the world where I am, and I see them join a white man side, it's not important. It's not, you're shortchanging yourself. Because I can give you a very good example. In the UK, they would rather put somebody who doesn't have the skill, who doesn't have the certification there, because of the color of the skin. And I'm telling you, these are realities. Now, I'm not saying this to talk to anyone. I'm saying this to help you understand the realities so you can take advantage of it. That's what a lot of people do not understand. You need to understand how a system works for you to take advantage of it. Now, when you join a white person to say that, you're shortchanging yourself because there's a way the system of the world is structured. I hope you're seeing in politics how US can bully other countries and no one can say anything. How everyone is running helter-skelter because the strong would always bully, would always take advantage of the weak. It's been like that from time immemorial. So don't join them. See certification as a baseline, as a starting point for skill acquisition. You can do certifications and acquire skill. You can do certification and acquire understanding. See it as a reference. See it as a starting point. It is not the end in itself. It is when you begin to think it's the end in itself that you join people who lack understanding to say it's not important, it's hands-on. Who told you can learn everything in IT from hands-on? You can't because of the rate at which technology is evolving. The times you have to do certification, the time you have to go for training for you to acquire those skills. You can acquire skills from being taught. Right. After you've acquired those skills, the understanding, the knowledge, it is practice over time that makes you an expert. But you need to know, you need something, you need to know where to start from. Certification can be where to start from. It can be the baseline. So don't join them. Like I said, I speak from experience. It's a very good plus. Do not join them to say, "Oh, it's useless, it's that, it's this." You're shortchanging yourself. Education is very important, and that's where I'm going to stop. Thank you very much, sir.
Tinu, I saw your hands raised, but I see you dropped it. Let me assume it's a mistake. So someone may be thinking, how do I choose my first certification? We have a few of us here based on the polls who are just trying to break in, into tech and cybersecurity. How do I choose my first certification when I have zero tech background? Babs, you want to take that?
Sorry, I lost you there. Could you Could you repeat that? Sorry.
Okay, just before I repeat that, let's hear from Olaoluwa. Please go ahead. I see your hands raised. You can unmute yourself. Yes.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Okay, so actually, I'm a student. I'm currently a student from Osun State University, and I am a nutrition and dietetics student. So I did an ISEC exam last year, but I don't know what to do with it, and I'm actually interested in the cybersecurity space. And I don't know how to go about it because I really don't have much people with cybersecurity knowledge around me.
Okay, so thank you, Itinu, for your question. Are you part of the community?
Yes, sir.
Oh, fantastic. Okay. So I think the question I was just asking, which Barb was about to take on, is relevant to what you're saying. And Babs, the question I was asking, just because we have people here too who are just starting out their career in tech. Someone is saying, how do I pick my first certification, right? Even though Itunu is a nutritionist, she has gone ahead to write one tech certification. I'm sure she just gambled on it. What should inform the kind of certifications I have? Or will maybe you take it first, then we hear from Soji or Chigozie as in that order.
Okay. Okay. So to answer that, right? I understand a couple of people struggle because they don't see the roadmap, right? So you must, like I said, you must have a target, first of all. But if you're new to the industry, one important thing you need to look out for is mentorship. Look out for those that are already there, right? Because they are your best people to guide you. To be honest, I'm in the education sector, right? And I also consult for people. So I've seen a lot of students, they've come to me and I'd be like, there's always a starting point. Now, my starting point that I would recommend is always so rigorous, right? Because if I try to explain the entire cybersecurity landscape and how you can diversify, sometimes it feels so a lot, right? But you have to start somewhere. You see, there are people that I'll speak for one aspect. Some want to become CISOs, some want to become solution architect. So they are hearing these things, and people are kind of like tying titles to it. So to really start again is that you have to be part of a community. You have to join those that they walked the path, right? And it is very easy for them to guide you. Now, I'm going to say something. I don't really want to say it, but you guys will just forgive me. This is my first time with you guys here. So I have the struggle with Gen Zs. No offense. You see, the thing with Gen Zs is that they put the money in front first before the knowledge. So it's a struggle. So whatever direction you're trying to point them to, just like Soji said, there's a wool in their head. They are not listening to what you're saying. You're trying to tell them this is the part. Hey, see, you want to be hands-on or you want to be able to create policy. I was explaining to a group of people, and I had that conversation with you, Tony, recently. I was telling them that, see, I can tell you cybersecurity is grouped into 3 different categories. You have the active one, you have the reactive, and you have the proactive. Now, you see, our big men, our chiefs, are actually in the reactive aspect of things because they need something to happen to come up with the policy. They are the decision maker. We always need someone to govern us because if you leave the technical guys, sometimes we move without direction because we are so confident in our ability and our skill. So to answer Olaoluwa, right? Now you need to ensure that you meet or you're part of a community. Look for some people that, or someone that can mentor you, right? Not that you have to necessarily pay, but someone that can mentor you and put you in the right direction. And I highly encourage, if you're new to the industry, ensure to look for just try to volunteer for a job. right? Because that's your starting point in gaining a bit of hands-on. The money will come. It is when you offer value, money comes. I will always say this to anyone. When you offer value, the money comes by default. You can hear Mr. Chigos. He was earning about 60,000. Do you know how much? Anyway, but you see, we are in a better place now. But because we have put in the work, I'll share another experience, last one, right? Just to encourage anyone. There was a time Oracle came up with giving out free certification for their Oracle cloud infrastructure, and they left it for a very short period of time. So just to re-echo what Mr. Soji said, we need to also understand that we are not playing on a level field. You need to know that. We are already 2 steps behind. So for you to catch up, do you know that offer was only there for like a week or so? I had never done that kind of study before. I studied for 72 hours straight. My eyes were blurred, like I was only seeing white, that I must obtain this certification. I must obtain this certification because it was cloud, right? So yeah, you need to put in the work, but at the same time, ensure that you look for a community or a group where you can actually obtain some level of mentorship and try to volunteer for some roles. Yes.
Interesting. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Babs. So just can you add to that briefly, because we want to take a question from Mohammed. Briefly.
I'll try to add to that very, very briefly. There was something Babs said, which he was very spot on. Now, I don't think anyone here has heard that. When I started on my career in the 2000s, I think 2004, 2003, I just left. I actually finished from Yabatech. And God just gave me a wisdom. Something just said to me, Soji, nobody's going to employ you. What do you have to offer? Just go and volunteer. So guess what? I went to a computer school to volunteer. It was in that computer school. I went to volunteer for free. I said to the man, don't pay me. I'm just going to walk. And the good thing was that it was just some, like 15 minutes walk away from my home. I would walk there in the morning, then walk back home. It was there, I volunteered at that computer school. And it was in that computer school that I saw lots of books on Google, search engine, and all of these certifications. The first certification I wrote in my life was CompTIA A+. It was in that company that computer school, that was where I saw that. So he's absolutely spot on. That's number one. Number two, you need to understand that education is expensive. Some people come to me and they want to, attend my classes, and I tell them this is the price, and they're like, oh, they just back off. If you can't, and the thing is that, and I'm not. Fact is that my training has been subsidized for the type of trainings you want, and I always say to people, go check. If you can find it, then come back and tell me. If you can find it at that level of quality, that level of resource, then I would, subsidize it further for you. But what I wanted to understand is education is expensive. Ignorance is cheap, but in the long run, it's going to be more expensive. It will cost you. So please, right? And number three, and to respond to, what's the name of the last lady? I think it's Olaoluwa. Let me say this. I used to have a boss, right, who did education as his first degree. Do you understand what I'm saying? He did education and his first degree. He worked for Cisco, worked for Microsoft, worked for some other tech companies. What I'm trying to say is that irrespective of the challenges you're facing right now, it is very possible you're going to face challenges. You can still be successful in the world of cybersecurity. Forget about what you've done. Just start. You're going to face obstacles. You're going to face challenges, but just hang in there. Do you understand what I'm saying? So that's where I'd like to stop. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. I see Promise has a question. It says, just before I read out Mohammed's own, Promise has a question. Promise, I like to think that your question would have been answered. She was saying, how do we see an organization to volunteer? And so he just gave his experience. He just walked.
Okay, so let me quickly just also respond to that. For you, just speak to any organization. Speak to any organization. Organization love freebies. You can walk to anyone and say, please, I want to work for you. Don't pay me. There was something Bob said. We live in times where people put money before. It's not about putting money before. You see, when you have the right expertise, money would come knocking at the door. People will come looking for you with money in their pocket. But you need, and there's something, okay, let me also say, there's something called the economic system. A lot of us do not understand this. I was lucky to actually was taught this in the church by one of my pastors some years ago. There's something called the economic system. The economic system is a value delivery system. Is what we call, is a system that is responsible for, you going to work, adding value, you getting paid salary and all of that. But there's certain things that a lot of people do not understand about the economic system. For you to be able to get value out of the economic system, you need to add to it. It's a law. You must add to it first before you can take out. And the question is, how do you add to it? You add to it by going into the system, acquiring skill, acquiring expertise. And the different ways you can acquire expertise. One of the ways you can volunteer, or you can volunteer and also pay. When you do that, you're getting value out of the economic system. When you've done that, after a while, the system will now begin to reward you. But if you want to take out of the system before putting back into the system, it doesn't work. It's either you're going to end up stealing. That's why we have a lot of thieves there, or you end up being something useless to the society and you think you're useful. The economic system, you must add to it first before you take out. It's a law. Check it. And that's how it is around the globe. If you do not do that, you're going to be out of order. And a lot of people do not want to do that. That's why they end up soiling their hands. They end up doing what they're not supposed to do. So to respond to that, just walk to as many organizations. You're going to meet rejection, but at least by one of these, what you need is just one. One of them will say, okay, no problem, just come. Let's just PT you, just come. If they say, let's just PT you, just say yes, thank you for PTing me. Just join them. Walk, add balance as you're volunteering. Open your eyes, be learning. And also that's also an opportunity for you to start studying, because that gives you the opportunity to see the things that you're studying, the things that you're reading. And before you know it, give yourself 2, 3, 4, 5 years. You feel blue. Thank you very much.
Mohammed is saying, how do you get out of the confusion phase? I manage access for operations team from 2022 to 2025 when I left channel operations for access management just last year. I took CC around December, but I didn't pass the exam. I seem confused. This is not me giving up, but me questioning where exactly I want to be. It was so disappointing to have failed CC because it was the first organized exam I've taken since school. I left channel ops because I felt I had no skills. It still feels like that. I'd saved the rest, but I'm so confused. I did a beginner course with one of the outlets, TechJohn. I also did Cisco Cybersecurity beginner course. Like I said, I am confused. Chigozie, do you want to take a stab at this before we hear from Precious, who has her hands raised? Sorry, we've not called you. Take that your question, and then we begin to wrap up. Yeah, go ahead,
okay.
please.
Thank you so much. Yes, thank you. So I'm sorry you missed.
Is it just me, or I can't hear Martin? I can't hear Chigozie anymore. Hello, is it just me? Can anybody hear me?
I can hear you.
I can hear you, but we can't hear the speaker.
We can't hear
I
him.
think maybe from his side.
Yeah, could be. So, Mohammed, are you in the community? Can you drop that in the chat if you're part of the community? I'll need you to chat me up, right? And then I'll have a conversation with you. I like Soji has said, one of the ways you pick certifications is to just have clarity as to where do you want to see yourself. There will clearly be people you currently see that you admire that is driving where you driving your desire to be in tech, right? So where do you see yourself? What do you want? And once you have clarity on that, it then begins to inform what certifications do I want to write, what knowledge, what competencies or skills do I want to learn. Access management is a big deal, right? People commonize it, but it is a big deal. And for guys like Babs, who is into ethical hacking, he will tell you that access is one of the core ways that you get is the door, the keys to the door to every system, right? How you manage it. Again, so it also depends on how you're framing the current job that you're doing. It is a big deal. It is a big deal.
Pardon me, sir,
Right?
for interrupting you. Let me just quickly add something to that. So when it comes to access control, so what prompted this is what you just said. Access control is very big. And there's a company, there's an organization. I'll look for the organization and drop their link in the chat. You can start doing certifications on access control to further reinforce the things you know, to further reinforce the experience you have. There are people who are just hired just for access control. They call them access control architect, and they pay them pretty well. Now, but there's something I want to say to some of us. Some of these roles, right? The reason some of us maybe will throw in the towel easily is because some of these roles are not properly rewarded in Nigeria. And that's why some of us are not seeing this opportunity. That's why some of us are not fired up. For access control, let me tell you that access control thing you're doing. If you become an access control architect, you can get, a job that can pay you as much as £500 per day. I get a lot of those in my DM. Some contracts, some full time, they could pay you as much as say maybe £65,000 per annum, for just entry and all of that. So if when you're building IT security, there was something I think Bab said. You see, you're not competing with people just in Nigeria. You're competing with people outside of Nigeria, people across the globe. So your mindset should be to look for certifications and trainings across the globe that brings you at par with them. And so your mindset should be that of international, should be that of global, even though you're in Nigeria. And I want to say to some of us, look forward to exploring the world. Don't just think of sitting in Nigeria. People like us, we left Nigeria very late. I left Nigeria in my 40s. I wish I'd left Nigeria early. And today I can tell you I have no regret. And stop listening to people who always give you bad news about people abroad. No, be everybody where they are abroad, they suffer. Some of you, all you listen to, you just listen to bad news about people. They're killing people. Trump is bad. UK is that. That's all you hear. You are destroying. When God looks at the planet, God doesn't see boundaries. So when you hear things like that, you're destroying your and that's how you feed yourself. That's how you propagate. You're destroying the capacity to even leverage international opportunity. When it comes to you, you won't be able to leverage it. Technology is global, is international. That's just where I'm going to stop. Thank you very much, sir.
All right, let's take the Precious, then Ephraim, and then we wrap up. We are out of time, and I don't want to keep us beyond this time. Precious, briefly, then Ephraim.
Yeah, thank you so much. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Okay, my question is, let me just say, I just got an offer. I'm currently working in the bank as an IT auditor, but entry level. So I would just posted there as entry level. I don't really have an idea of anything they are doing, they're just pushing, trying. So this year I intend even doing maybe a certification. But I'm just kind of scared. How can I go do a certification when I don't even have an idea of what the job takes? There's currently that actually maybe guiding me or putting me through on the job. It's supposed to be on the job training, but there's currently for the past 8 months, there's no one putting me through on the job. It's just me in that unit. So I don't know what to do. I don't want to use the word confused, but it just seems like, I don't know. So I just need answers.
I get you. And since you are specific to IT audit, I'll speak in that space. We, as part of the community, we run an IT audit boot camp. It runs for about 6-7 days. Are you part of the community, Pressure?
I just joined the community now. I saw the post. I just
interesting.
click on the link.
Between now and maybe March or April, we should run on that one for the year. But reach out to me, chat me up, and I'll provide that guidance you seek, right? I'll provide that guidance you seek. It's an interesting space, right? It's unfortunate that you don't have, that you're confused, but that's the whole essence of setting this whole thing up. So reach out to me and I'll provide you with preliminary guidance, and hopefully by the time you're part of the boot camp, whatever form you feel in that space will be cleared, right? I'll drop my number now. Okay, Ephraim, please go ahead before we hear, so that because our panelists, they run, I told us earlier that they run capacity building programs, right? And they will be able to share with us. For some of us looking to write certifications, they are possibly, depending on the body running it, there are discounts you can enjoy. For some of us willing to build core tech skills, either in penetration testing and etc., there are programs that we can enjoy. For some of us ready to build, write cybersecurity certifications, and we are confused, Soji will speak on that. Ephraim, please go ahead.
All right, thank you so very much. A big thank you to the panelists for your time. Thank you, Mr. Tony, for all the mentorship you provide. Though most times you're a very busy person, and I thank God for the group, the WhatsApp group. It's been awesome. A lot of value from interactions in that group. Now, I'm an individual with an accounting background. Tony, maybe you remember, I know several times we have spoken and all that, you have helped in a way. So an accounting background. So, but I have interest in this GRC, the GRC aspect of cybersecurity. So how relevant is my accounting background in audit and risk? Because those are my actually stronghold, studying accounting, auditing and risk. So how relevant, how wide is this this niche, the GRC, how wide is it? So which area would you advise I begin to zero in on? And then what certification will I need? So much has been talked about certification in this program, in this. So what certification do you think I should be looking at? Thank you so very much for this opportunity.
So I'll answer that, and then maybe if there's any question. Okay. Let me allow Chigozie answer that, because he is a chartered accountant.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So fortunately, I'm also an accountant, and audit, for instance, CISA is purely an audit exam. I used to tell people it's not an IT exam in its full sense, but rather you want to check out what IT guys do. So as an accountant, GRC is not something you want to ask whether are you facing the G or the R or the C. Being an accountant makes you already fit for a GRC role. GRC simply means governance, risk, and compliance. So you are not the one setting up the system. So that is another bit for another person to do. So what I will encourage you to do is to quickly take advantage of your background in accounting. Perhaps you want to focus on audit, you want to focus on data privacy, you want to focus on risk and compliance and all that in a business. You focus on it. GRC, you don't break anyone out. If you're a GRC expert, you are a GRC expert. So for a starter, ISACA has launched an exam, a certification now, I think late last year. For those who are not qualified, who don't have the relevant experience to be CISA certified, there's also what we call the I'll get the right name now, but it's a CISA, but you write it and then get experience to be certified as a CISA. That's also a readily available certification for you on one hand. On the other hand, you could also take the CC certification or even the Google cybersecurity course, Microsoft cybersecurity course, as well as HP cybersecurity courses. These OEMs offer free cybersecurity courses. And like Tony mentioned earlier, YouTube is a whole university on its own. So you can also learn some skills there before you now begin to push in, where do I settle in terms of certification?
Chigozie, you're muted if you're still talking, but I hear you. So maybe I'll just allow you speak to, for some of us who are interested in writing ISACA certification, they feel it's expensive. Are there, can you share some of the offerings and then the scholarship opportunity with the other guys that we had spoken about before? I yield the floor to Babs as well to share some of the things.
Okay. So for the members of Tech Assurance, that's why Tony has been asking if you are a member of the community. So the community and through ISACA Abuja chapter, we're able to secure partnership with ISACA here. So this partnership covers the whole of Africa as well as a part of Asia. It's genuine. Now, currently certification and the entire package you need for certification would cost you, an ISACA certification will cost you over $1,300. Right now, through ISACA Abuja chapter and the partnership we've maintained with Onitsha Business, that has been brought down to $670. So for any ISACA certification you are interested in, you are to pay only $670 and you get the exam ticket, you get free membership for 1 year. 1 year, of course, till December this year. You also get a question and answer database, official. Everything are all officially assigned to you. And aside from that, when you pass your certification, you are expected to pay $50 to be certified. This partnership will give you a voucher for that free. So you are getting, in addition to everything, you are getting a $50 discount. I'm also, I offer training as well as 90-day mentorship. That is a paid service anyway. So at the chapter level, we offer training, which is usually 10 days for each of the certification. 8 days for CISA, CISM, and every other one. But for CISA, it's about 10 days. Monday to Saturday and Monday to Saturday, 2 weeks. That is hugely subsidized by the chapter. So we'll be announcing the next certification class in the community as well. Also, we have also secured, I personally have also secured a deal with an American company. There is this free certification on CompTIA Network Plus, CompTIA Cloud Essentials, SAT Core Cybersecurity Essentials, as well as AI Essentials. All of these are given for free. But for you to get that, you will need to apply and get a scholarship on, you need to get a scholarship and pay for 4 other courses. So there are 4 other courses which are hands-on. There is the CompTIA Security Plus, there is the Blue Team certification, there is the Kali Linux pen tester certification, as well as biometrics certification. So if you're interested in biometrics configuration and security, which is very, very in demand in the US and the UK, that is also handy. So you apply for the scholarship. Scholarships are given on case-by-case basis. Lastly, we have also waived the entire study fee. So you'll be given access to the labs, to the lab exercises. You are given access to free on-demand courses. This is part of what I've been able to secure largely for the African market. And for AI certifications, which is the one ISACA has just released, we are still working on that. Currently, it's expensive, but the school and I are working towards making that also affordable. Again, the entire cost you are getting discounted is about 40% discount. And like we said earlier in this meeting, if you need to borrow and do this. You will just come back in a few years' time to say you are glad you did what you did. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Soji, please go ahead.
So thank you very much. So for me, my area of training is so I do both the ISACA certifications and the ISC2 certifications, but I'm going to leave the ISACA certifications for Chigozie, and the reason is because of the huge discounts that you can get from his side, right? But for the area that I would like to focus on would be the ISC2 exams, like the CISSP, the CCSP, the CGRC, so largely ISC2 certifications. If you're interested, what would happen is now, so for example, so let me just say it here. If you are attending, say maybe an ISC2 training with me, so for example, for the CISSP, my CISSP is usually like 6 months, right? If you're attending, I charge you, and I'm going to say it here, I would charge you 600,000 naira, which is largely subsidized. I'll tell you, you can't find it anywhere. And now the reason I'm saying that to you is because I'm an accredited trainer. I use ISC2 materials, and I'm not boasting. I've made lots of CISSPs. I've made lots of, seriously, a lot of people have come to my class from Nigeria, and, they've passed their exams and all of that. And I do not just, explain, I do not just speak theoretical things here. I also lace it with, real world experience. Now, but if you're attending my training from outside Nigeria, what I charge is actually 1,500 USD. Somebody might say that's a lot of money. It's not. I train for other international organizations too. I train for organizations, you can go check them up. I train for organizations like Global Skillsoft. I know some of us here have attended trainings with Global Skillsoft. I train for Global Skillsoft. If you go to CISSP, for example, with Global Skillsoft, it depends on the part of the world you're coming from, but you're going to be paying an average of $2,500 for just 5 days. Mine is 6 months. Now, if you attend from organizations like Firebrand or some other, you could pay as much as £3,000. Some you pay £5,000. So those are the opportunities that I give. But the thing is, I can give further discount to the people attending from here. But that arrangement would have to be made with Tony. Now, the reason I do not like giving discounts, right, is that a lot of people abuse it. People abuse it, and I'm serious. People abuse it. Sometimes you give discount to people, and some people don't attend trainings. Some people in the middle of the training would then back out. You understand? Some people. So I think that's why for me, I just think that it is very important what people value, what they pay for.
Yeah.
That's why I actually stopped giving discounts. Yeah. I've had those times that I, advertise in the group. I've had people, and some of you have reached out to me from here, and I just tell you straight up. Some people might think, oh, it's too expensive. 600,000 naira is how much? That's like $400. You can't get that training anywhere for that amount. CISSP for 6 months. Possible. Go and check. If you find, come back and tell me. It's not possible.
Sometimes we even allow them pay in installments, and the person just pays once. And
so let me also tell you, some people that allow paying installment. Let me tell you, some people that allow paying installment. Some of them will attend 4 months training, right? Get the study material and just disappear. When I reach out to them, they don't respond to me. So, and the thing is that I really don't feel bad because for me, that's not a main source of income. And for me, but what I'm trying to say is that I can arrange with Tony if you guys are interested. If you're interested in CC, I also train the CC or any of the ISC2 certifications. Just reach out to Mr. Tony. I would have that conversation with him. I can give discount, to the community just to, help the community. A lot of people attend my trainings for free. Sometimes a lot of people have attended my training and they still attend my trainings for free. But one reason why I want to stop doing that is because I've come to understand a lot of people do not value it. Mm-hmm. People don't value what they do not pay for. But it is very wrong for you not to value what you did not pay for. You're actually shortchanging yourself if you do not know. So, but that's where I'm going to stop. But also mentoring as well. Maybe I'll leave that to Mr. Tony. If you need mentoring in cybersecurity, if Mr. Tony would like to create a group for that where we can talk, you can ask your questions further, it's fine. For me, it's one thing I enjoy doing. And I do not just do that for people. So let me say this. A guy just reached out to me during the week, and he wrote CISA 3 times, a white guy. He wrote CISA 3 times and failed. And he went and wrote it the 4th time. He just said, and I kept telling him, don't throw in the towel. Don't throw in, he's a white guy. Don't throw in the towel. He went and wrote it the 4th time, and he passed. So what I'm saying is that for those of us here who you wrote the exam the first time and you failed it, I've written exams. In 2007, I wrote CCNA. I failed it. I was still trying to find my feet. CCNA in 2003 was 33,000 naira. 33,000 naira was a lot of money. I failed it. I was still working as a technician there. I had to go back and look for money and then passed it. So what I'm saying is that if you fail an exam, it's not the end of the world. Go back and write it again. If you fail, go back and write it again. There's a learning, there's a lesson you're getting from that, which may be useful for you to mentor other people in the future. Life is not a straight line. Stop expecting it to be a straight line. Stop expecting everything to just work out. Some of you will look at people like us in this panel and say, these people, now they enjoy you. But you don't understand half of what the people have gone through. Stop listening to people who tell you things are just going to be smooth. When you go to church, they tell you something, things are just going to be smooth. It's a lie. Even God never promised you things are going to be smooth. Stop all those thoughts. It keeps you from progressing. When you want to see, if what you're pursuing, let me just stop there. If what you're pursuing is to get to the peak, imagine the pyramid. The more you want to go, the more gravity will want to pull you down. What it means is that the higher you want to go, the more challenges you're going to face. That's how life is. And so the more you need to evolve and better yourself to make sure you get to the top. Even God will not get you to the top just easily. I didn't see it when I read the Bible. So for those of you who go to church and you say you keep confessing faith, it's going to be easy. Don't try a journey. You're going to face challenges. But what you should be looking at is God helping you through those challenges. That's what he specializes in. And he has the capacity to. So that's just where I'm going to stop. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you very much, Agatoni.
All right, Babs.
For those of you that don't understand Yoruba, I will just help you translate. Everyone helps those who help themselves. That's what Soji was trying to tell you. Anyway, so yeah, my domain basically is I also offer mentorship. So we offer training in ethical hacking. It's fully hands-on. I'm a certified EC Council instructor. So it means that I teach based on their curriculum, but I also teach outside of their curriculum because I've been doing that for quite a while. And I've also identified gaps in their curriculum. But yes, so because there are some knowledge areas that they're supposed to include, which for certain reasons they don't include as well. I'm going to quickly drop something here, which sorry about that. I'm going to drop something quickly here. When you're also going for certifications, right? I know most people don't know this. You see, that's the reason why ISACA, the ISC tools, they have good reputation. Is because most of them are DoD approved. So there are a lot of certifications out there. You can't get a job with it. I'm sorry, I have to tell you. Nobody will tell you that, but I have to tell you. So always ensure that you look out for those that are DoD approved, because that way, you see, for example, OSCP, it was just recently that they started accepting them at organizations because they were not DoD approved. Right. So, but they expect that you have the skill set of someone that has done OSCP because it's quite rigorous. So that is just to create a bit of a clear pathway for you. And this, like they've said, education is quite expensive. We know that. So I offer training in ethical hacking. for anyone that is interested, if you're part of the tech community, yes, I'm going to speak to Mr. Tony because my trainings are for 490K basically because it's fully hands-on. I know how much those I train in the USP, so I won't say it here. So I've decided to bring it down because it's the real deal I'm giving. It's everything pertaining hands-on. I'm not telling you to go to try Acme. Yeah, you can go to Try Acme. There's what Try Acme will show you. But again, I'm also going to re-echo what Mr. Soji said. If you get it for free, you don't take it serious. I know that. There is also the other aspects where people struggle with self-paced, asynchronous activity where they're trying to learn by themselves. So most times when you pay, there is, as the saying goes, even in the Bible, that where a man's treasure is, that's where his heart is. If you pay for something, you kind of like become a little bit accountable. So you don't want your money to go to waste, right? And some of you might say it's quite expensive. No, we are giving you the real deal. It's not like we're just springing up a couple of resources that are out there. So like I said, you're getting the real thing as regards to EC Council. So, but if you want to sign up for my program, I'm going to talk to Mr. Tony. He's also going to post in the community. I'll be offering a very huge discount. So as much as 40% for those that want to take off. It's for 6 weeks, right? And from the start to the end, it's strictly hands-on. I don't like to talk too much because my teaching methodology is that you learn by doing. So from the very start, you will build confidence, and that will actually act as a launch pad. And you see, if you want to now move into other aspects, you see clearly. So for example, if Chibuzo does not mind me putting him on the spot, he is into IT audit. I said it's easier to audit, no offense to anyone, it's easier to audit when you see through the lens of an attacker. It's easier. So you see those other hidden aspects of it you would see. So yeah, this is not me marketing, but this is me also telling you that every aspect of cyber is very valuable and we all need each other. So yes, you can always reach out. You can follow me on LinkedIn. I'm going to share the link to my profile here, but I'll always communicate on the channel. So thank you, Mr. Tony.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And for those of us in the community, Babs has also offered to take our knowledge sharing session for February, right? So you get to see part of what he delivers in that short moment. You just take a domain and just walk us through how it works. I like to think that it has been an enlightening session. I personally, even though I'm the host, I have learned one or two things from our participants, our panelists, right? One is grit. Two is that money chases after value, right? Money chases after value. We must focus on value first and money will come. And so it's quite key that if we are in this knowledge as a service business, capacity building is not negotiable, be it through certification, be it through building hands-on skills. It is not negotiable. Any other further conversations we would have on the community chat, right? Once again, thank you very much for your time and sincere apologies for us shooting beyond our planned 1 hour by over 25 minutes. To our panelists, please forgive me. I didn't take this long, but I'll be reaching out to us to so that we can communicate some of the things we have said here to the wider audience for those of them who would want to take advantage of it. Thank you so much, and let's have a fantastic weekend. Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.